Amazon is recalling 260,000 portable power banks because they can overheat and catch fire. The rubberized or metallic power banks have the Amazon Basics logo printed on them.
And Amazon is recalling 260,000 portable battery chargers that may pose a fire hazard. The company says the Amazon Basics portable power banks battery can overheat and ignite.
They were sold from December 2014 through July of 2017. Amazon has received 53 reports of these units overheating.
So far, Amazon has received more than 50 complaints about the chargers overheating. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says if you own one, stop using it and contact Amazon.
Your phone charger catching fire in your pocket. That's not a drill. In 2025, regulators banned entire batches of wireless power banks after they started swelling, sparking, and burning. You carried them in bags, in cars, even in your jeans until they became walking fire hazards. One frustrated buyer summed it up: "I just wanted a charge, not a trip to the ER." Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. If everyday gear designed to help you can turn into an ignition source, what else on Amazon was suddenly illegal this year?
This is the cause of that house fire in Hope, a frayed cell phone charge cord, probably just like the one you have in your car, your office, or bedroom. A house fire off Market Street causing $50,000 to $70,000 in damage. It's not just an annoying electronic. Firefighters tell me it's a real hazard. Bartholomew County fire investigators say it came from one of these, a frayed cell phone charge cord inside the bedroom.
Stay with me. The list is darker than you think. A winter glove that burns your fingers from the inside. A phone charger that lights your car on fire. These weren't props in a training exercise. They were sold as harmless consumer items, and yet by 2025, they were recast as battlefield hazards. The line between household convenience and combat-level danger blurred, and regulators were forced to step in. In that year, the recall lists read like an after-action report from a failed mission. Simple devices once trusted in homes, gyms, and cars had become liabilities. The triggers weren't bombs or bullets, but shortcuts in wiring, unchecked heat buildup, and unstable batteries. Gear that should protect you ended up creating exposure points. A heated glove designed for comfort during winter hikes became capable of searing hands. A wireless charger inside a compact sedan turned the entire cabin into a flashpoint. These weren't rare cases. They were repeating patterns. Users placed faith in basic electronics. You don't expect a hairdryer sitting in your bathroom to behave like a faulty flamethrower. You don't expect a compact power bank to warp in your pocket like ordnance primed to explode. Yet that's exactly how regulators began classifying them, as everyday items reshaped into threats. The betrayal lay not in misuse but in the design itself. And when flaws become systemic, the threat is no longer personal, it is structural. Picture carrying a defective power bank in your jeans. Outwardly, it looks harmless. No hiss, no warning beeps. But inside the lithium cells, pressure mounts quietly. One misaligned circuit, one thin protective layer, and the entire unit swells. To the untrained eye, it's just a bulge, but tactically speaking, it's the same as hauling a grenade with its pin loosened. All it takes is friction, a heat spike, or the wrong charge cycle, and you're holding an ignition source you can't control. Now consider a smoke or gas detector that fails to sound the alarm. On paper, it's still there, tasked with defense. But silence at the critical moment strips it of all meaning. That's like radar going dark during a missile sweep. Useless, even worse than nothing, because you trusted it to perform. In civilian space, that's not just inconvenient, it can be lethal. The collapse came from three angles. First, lithium battery instability, where rapid ion buildup could breach containment and set material ablaze. Second, wiring flaws often buried under protective casing, invisible until a surge forced metal against metal. Third, missing safety cutoffs, the small but vital components designed to break contact when things overheated. Without those tripwires, the system stayed live until it failed catastrophically. Once regulators examined the field reports, the scope became undeniable. wireless packs bulging against denim and coats, Thermo One gloves climbing past temperature thresholds until they triggered blisters instead of warmth, hair dryers turning into sparking live conductors in wet bathrooms. The risk wasn't exotic, it was camouflaged in the everyday. The consequences spiraled quickly. For shoppers, something as basic as plugging in at night introduced a risk package you'd normally associate with frontline engineering. For parents, laying a child in a playpen wasn't just about safety rails anymore. Questions arose about fabric flammability and unnoticed choke hazards. Even ceiling fans, held by brackets over living space, became case studies in mechanical failure when poorly produced blades sheared off under stress. That widening pattern showed the real danger. It wasn't just rogue products. It was an entire supply chain where design discipline gave way to cost cutting. And once those flaws replicated at mass scale, the threat crossed from isolated mishaps to national-level recalls. By mid-year, the response moved fast. Amazon listings didn't just vanish quietly. The items themselves were reclassified as illegal to sell outright. Warehouses locked down pallets of unsafe stock. Recall notices went beyond refund requests. Units were seized, tracked, and pulled out of circulation like compromised weapons caches. And here's where the escalation became visible. Regulators, no longer satisfied with return logistics or refund credits, began ordering destruction of stockpiles. That shift marked a decisive point. When leadership starts cutting losses like that instead of patching gaps, it signals one thing: containment has failed, and the only option left is neutralization. Meanwhile, the list of suspect items kept growing. What began with portable chargers and heated gloves soon reached deep into home goods. Fans, baby gear, household appliances all fell into question. For every shopper still browsing, the battlefield had changed. The threats weren't outside the home. They were inside the walls, inside the pocket, inside the air you breathed. This is the story of modern consumer gear turning hostile through neglect, design shortcuts, and missed safeguards. And you can already see the stakes rising when regulators stop refunding and start destroying. That shift tells you the danger has escalated to a different level. Danger does not just exist on the front lines. It waits inside the walls of your home, hidden in devices you trust. A recall notice is not just paperwork. It is proof that an unseen threat has already breached the perimeter. When safeguards collapse, the battlefield shifts into living rooms and garages. You have to treat every piece of gear like it matters. Question what you carry. Inspect what you plug in. Don't wait for regulators to find the flaw after it costs someone a life. Subscribe and join a community that studies these quiet wars before they strike.